Hello. For this week's sort of World of Warcraft, I thought what I'd do is talk about PvP, which is most unlike me, because on the face of it, I am not a PvP player. In Warlords of Draenor, for example, I tried Ashran a few times during the beta, and when it went live, I had hopes for it, but never really got into it. I mean, apart from anything else, having to queue up for like an hour, and then just randomly something pops up, says you've got a minute to get in. No good for me. Missed so many queues. I mean, there was never anything I needed to do for an hour in terms of dailies or anything like that. So I could easily miss it. Now, on a normal battleground, not only do you get 2 minutes, but I don't know why there's a difference in this. I have a G19 keyboard, and when I'm queuing for a normal battleground, something I haven't done for a long time, but you do get a pop-up on the keyboard thing. So I could be browsing YouTube or something like that, or just doing whatever on my computer, and it'll pop up and tell me, and I've got 2 minutes. Problem with Ashran, one, it doesn't do that. But two, only giving you that minute means even if you are looking at your screen, you know, if that's the moment you choose to go and have a piss, then you've missed your cue. I wasn't doing that. I really wasn't going to get into that, and it's a real shame. Now, I mean, even just the thing is, PvP in this game, for a long time when I started playing World of Warcraft, because it was my first MMO, I thought to myself, do you know what, I'm just not a PvP player. Now, in all sort of games where there's a PvP mode and a cooperative mode, I've always preferred the cooperative mode, so I would always be a PvE player. But I've also enjoyed PvP, but I just thought, you know what, in MMOs, I just don't like PvP. And it wasn't until I played a couple of other games later on that I changed my mind on that. And it's just, I don't like PvP in World of Warcraft. And it's for me, it's baffling. For some other people, it sort of makes sense. But for me, it's baffling why it is as it is in World of Warcraft. Because, I mean, even Battlegrounds, apart from like Alterac Valley, Arathi Basin, and Silvershard Mines, I don't like the Battlegrounds. And the first two of those were like two of the first three to come out anyway. So they haven't really been bettered, in my view, since then. And, you know, I mean, PvP in vanilla, just take you back, was basically someone, you had battlegrounds that appeared later on. They weren't there at the start. So mostly what it was, someone picks a fight with an NPC at some Horde or Alliance area, and everyone else goes, oh, they're attacking guards, and everyone just swamps in. And it's just a free-for-all, it's just a melee between loads of people, and you go there and you kick each other's asses until you get bored and then you just leave. And that's all it was. And actually, that's probably better than it is now. But it's a pain in the ass because anyone questioning that area, you're screwing them over. TBC brought with it arenas, so you had like small version PvP, which sort of works. Yes, there's certain classes that you wanted more than others and class combinations, creating potential imbalances there. But at least, you know, it sort of works, and it was enjoyable. I did a bit of it in TBC. It was reasonably enjoyable. But for me, what I want is epic scale battles. You know, epic scale PvP, which doesn't exist. And, you know, it's not even just about the numbers, because Alterac Valley 40 versus 40. But it's not epic because, you know, half the people just charge down to one end and half the people charge to the other just to try and get the whole thing over with as quickly as possible. And a few other people meet in the middle and scrap, and a few individuals go off and do other things as well. So, yeah, it's not a really big epic battle. Now, just to highlight what I mean about an epic battle is, when I basically stopped playing World of Warcraft after Tier 7, because I was having none of that, it was absolutely ridiculous tier. And I ended up playing a bit of Lord of the Rings Online with the PvP. If there ever existed in that game, it was dead by the time I tried that. But I also tried Warhammer Online. Again, I had played that when it first came out, and it was so badly done. It was so clearly not ready for release that I gave it an afternoon and thought, no. But I came back to it, pushed through. I mean, the thing is with Warhammer Online is the PvE was really bad, and it was buggy and all the rest of it. And they never really improved on that. But the PvP was enjoyable because you had the way the zones worked is each side of the zone was the PvE area for each faction. And then you had the middle bit, which is your PvP area. So it kept PvE and PvP separate, which is a big thumbs up from me. and you just sort of wandered into it, and there were objectives to take, and it was quite easy to get involved in pugs and just join a group, and you'd be attacking a fort or defending a fort, and the strategy in it, it wasn't just about you're either attacking a fort or defending a fort, which on the face of it is. There's a certain amount of strategy there. Like you might notice, for example, there's a little group breaks away and you're thinking, well, where are they going? So you might send a scout after and see where they're going. Maybe they're going, there's another group going to attack another of your forts. Maybe then make a decision, do we carry on attacking this one, or do we send some people to go and defend that one there? Because the whole point is you wanted to effectively own all the forts to gain access to the invasion for the enemy city. So there was a great deal more in it from that point of view. And then much more recently, just last year, Elder Scrolls Online came out. Now I stopped playing that. Again, the PvE was clearly not ready for release, which is a great shame because I thought there was a lot of positives about that game, but yeah, you just couldn't. The PvE is so shocking. But the PvP, again, I tried it and I thought this is great. Huge PvP area, just a specific zone. You sort of queued up. You can look, and the other really good thing, now you can't really do this with World of Warcraft, I would say. Probably could have done if they'd have thought about it right from the start, but you probably can't so much now. Elder Scrolls Online improved because it had 3 factions. Now Warhammer Online, 2 factions. Big problem there, because when you have an imbalance of the factions and you have world PvP, whichever is the dominant faction is just going to win. That's all there is to it. So they kept merging realms to try and keep the balance there, and it was a losing battle. Elder Scrolls Online, 3 factions. Okay, so if you've got one dominant faction, the 2 others can sort of, they're not necessarily working together, but they're both working against that. So you've got this 3-way thing going on, which again adds a great layer of detail to it, and strategy. And just the map, when you're sort of riding across it, took forever, and there were so many objectives, so many forts, and it was just such a lot of fun. You had siege engines and all the rest of it there, and the actual battles were epic and they were fun. And there's no objective. The thing about World of Warcraft PvP is there is an objective. You know, whether it's battlegrounds or arenas or Ashran or anything that's come before it, like Tol Barad and Winterspring, there's an objective. There's a do this and you win. So obviously then people want to do that as quickly as possible just to get the reward, because it's all reward driven. Whereas what happens in Elder Scrolls Online is you just say, I want to join, I want to go to... Damn, I can't remember what it's called now. I can't remember what the area is called. It doesn't matter. But you click you want to go there, and you look at the available sort of instances, if you like, and you sort of say, well, okay, you know, which ones are... I mean, obviously the ones that are full are going to take longer to queue up, but if you look at the one that's got the right balance of different factions in there that suit you, and you go there. Wait till you can get in. Sometimes you can get in really quickly. And there's other things to do as well. If you sort of want to do a bit of solo stuff, there's various other objectives to do in there. But as I say, just getting involved in a group, and it's very easy to get involved in a group. And then you've got the strategy. You've got to meet up with your group. All right, they're maybe off attacking a fort. And you think to yourself, again, the strategy on how to get there. You don't just take the road, because there's lots of places for like snipers or, you know, ambushers to lie in wait. And you're thinking, I'm not going to go there, I'm on my own. So you're trying to, again, work out the best route that gives you the best chance of escape if someone is there, and staying away from areas that are really good hiding places for ambushers. So it's a lot more involved, and you just do it for a couple of hours if that's what you want to do. And because there's no actual objective as such, you just, you know, trying to conquer enemy territory, and they're trying to counter-conquer yours, or, you know, or the other faction does. And you're shifting priorities all the time. You're saying, well, okay, we're going to carry on this, and the other group will go back there, or the other way around, or something like that. And it is absolutely so much fun. And it's a real shame that World of Warcraft can't do this. And as I say, that's why when Ashran was sort of being, I thought, well, this is it. It's going to be a specific PvP zone. Because there's no point in world PvP. It doesn't exist in World of Warcraft. I have, for the last expansion, been on a PvP server. I sort of stayed away from PvP servers for ages. Been on them. There's no world PvP at all. You have basically got people who are ganking others, picking on the weak. It might be level cap players who go to lower level zones just to pick on leveling characters. These sad, inadequate, motherless, whatever the hell. Or you've got the dominant faction waiting outside Hellfire Citadel, or whatever the latest raid is, and ganking the other faction on the way in. Something that's not now so easy now that you can fly. You can just fly in. But before flying was finally brought into the game, you would just see this. I would sit there, because I was Alliance for most of this time, and I would feel sorry for these guys, just having to ride into the instance and thinking they don't need this. Where's the fun in this? This is not fun. This is not how can it be fun if it's not fair? And then there was one time when I did it, and I feel really bad to this day. I remember, again, it's related to Tanan Jungle. Tanan Jungle brought out the rage in me. This was when I was trying to get sort of Apexis crystal so that I could get the upgrade stuff, which was just account bound, so I could send it to other characters so they could upgrade their baleful weapons. And I was using that Arakoya thing that teleports you to a rare to get the rares done. And like I'd teleported like 4 times in a row. And like sometimes you teleport there just in time to see the thing die. You can't quite get a tag on it, so you can't get the kill. You think, "Urgh." And a couple of times I'll go there and there's nothing there. It's just not there. There's not even the corpse of it there. And I'm thinking, what the hell? And 4 times on the row this had happened. And on the 4th time I'd teleported in to one of the rares in the sort of siege area near Hellfire Citadel, just again to see the rare die. And I thought, oh, and it was a load of Horde players. I was Alliance at the time. And it was a load of Horde players. And I'd just got my legendary ring as well. And I went absolutely mad. And I just popped my ring and I popped everything. Attacking them all. They were quite low level. Low geared. So I had no problem doing this. And a couple of others joined in to try and take me on just as the ring exploded, and that killed them. And as I sort of stood there with like 5 dead Horde at my feet, and I just thought to myself, I've been a bit of an arse there. That's not fun for them. I have been the thing I hate about World PvP, and I've basically just picked on people who are weaker than me. And it's not fun, and there's no need for it. And I really don't know why we have it, because, I mean, in the early days, obviously, you might have it because that was all there was to do. But now, if you're going to do PvP properly, you are going to do Battlegrounds or you are going to do Arena. I don't even know if serious PvP players do anything in Ashran these days. Because it's just an utter failure. Because although it's an area specifically for PvP, there is still this objective, this thing to do there, rather than, and there's nothing epic about it. And I have been in a few times. Early on not recently, early on in the expansion. It was not at all epic. It was just one of these melees again, just a big scrap. It's like, with a PvE objective at the end of it. And is it just me? Is it just me that likes the large-scale, aimless, really, PvP battles of the likes of Elder Scrolls Online? Or what? Because to me, that is the perfect model for PvP, and it's just a shame other aspects of the game were not done right at release. I mean, maybe now they've improved a lot of it. Maybe it's a really good game now, but I'm not planning on going back, because why would I? Maybe I will later on, before Legion. But, I mean, 3 factions for a start. Okay, they can't now do that in World of Warcraft. But having this separate PvP area, and a huge area with loads of objectives for each one, where, as I say, you can do this thing where you're attacking a fort and, the opposite faction are defending it, and you've got this huge battle there, and you've got little mini strategies, because you're not all doing the same thing like raw. You've got little groups all doing little things, and you're communicating with each other, and maybe, as I say, a group breaks them and you think, where are they going? Or maybe you've got your little scouts out to make sure that you don't have a group of the opposite faction come up behind you and get you in a pincer movement. So you've got all these different roles in there, as you would in a real battle. And it's such a better experience. And as I say, the fact that Blizzard don't actually make a serious effort to do this makes me think, is it just me that likes that style of PvP? Because I can't think of any other reason. I mean, people have said when I've mentioned this before, well, it's because the actual abilities, the way classes work, don't really suit the large-scale stuff in World of Warcraft. The answer to that has always been to separate out the abilities. Because, especially if you don't have World PvP, there is no, you're either in an area where it's PvE, like you're in the world, or you're in dungeons or raids, or you're in battlegrounds, or you're in arenas, or you're in the PvP world. And your abilities can just change according to that, and we're already sort of separating them out a little bit, aren't they? Because we're going to have the PvP specific talents and all the rest of it. So there's no reason for that, you know, because our classes can work differently in PvP to PvE. That's not a big problem, you know, as long as it's not completely different. I mean, I don't want, for example, my execution sentence to work as it does in PvE, and then in PvP it shoots out rainbows or something. It has to do the same basic job, but it can work in very different ways and have add-ons and do extra things to take account of the large-scale nature of it. So, I mean, so I will be interested to see if they have any plans. I haven't heard of any real big plans for PvP. I don't know whether Blizzard are just thinking, sod it, because like in what, I mean, what did they do apart from Asher? And they didn't really do anything. You didn't really get new battlegrounds or new arenas or anything. It's like they've just thought with PvP they've given up, and it is a bit of a shame, because as I say, I used to think to myself, I'm not a PvP player, but since I've played a couple of MMOs where the PvP was enjoyable, I now just have to say I don't enjoy PvP in World of Warcraft, but I would enjoy it on a casual basis if the conditions were right. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I'll see what you think. I'd be very interested to know what actual PvP players think, especially if you have played some other games, especially if you played the ones I've talked about, like Warhammer Online, and especially Elder Scrolls Online, because I do think that worked very well. Yes, class balance, people argued, you know, especially when it first came out, the vampire's too powerful. Class balance is always an issue in PvP, but the actual way that PvP was done, to me, I couldn't really fault it. And I would love it if that came to World of Warcraft. We can't have the 3 factions probably. As I say, we probably could have done. I know I'm repeating myself. I think we probably could have done at one time, because you could have had an alliance sort of faction. You could have had like a Orcs, Trolls, Tauren type faction. Then you could have had another one based around Forsaken and maybe Worgen. I mean, together. But I don't know if the law would allow that. It wouldn't now. I couldn't do it now. But maybe it would have been possible at one time to have done 3 factions. Maybe not. But everything else about it, I absolutely think could be done. But anyway, so those are my thoughts. See what you think. And until next time, I'll see you later.
Jump on his face. Jump on him.
Jump on him. Jump on him, yeah.
Hello.
Alright guys, listen to Boots.
Stupid fucking orcs. Fucking hell. Like herding cats. Oh, sweet Jesus. Stop jumping, you moron. Stupid witch elf is stupid.